Hello guys, I hope you all are doing good. I am Vaishali Kikan and we are discussing the optical communication. Today in this video, we are going to talk about the current confinement methods. We are going to talk about the various methods by which I can confine the current so that the threshold current will become less. If the threshold current is less, our device will be operating at a lower power. This is the requirement. I want to operate my device at a lower power. So what I will be doing? I will be confining the current above or below the active region only. I will be preventing the current going in the both sides of the active region. So I will be blocking the current on both sides of the lasing region. And how I can do that? If I have to confine the current, I have to either increase the resistivity. Current cannot travel from the location where we have the high resistivity. So for confining the current, first thing we can do is to increase the resistivity, or second what we can do, we can have the reversed biased PN junction by which I can confine the current. So both of them are really interesting technique to confine the current just above or below the active region. So current is confined either above or below the lasing region, right? So this is how we are confining the current. Now we have separate techniques to confine the current above and below the lasing region, and we are going to discuss in detail about all of the structures. So now the diodes which are there in the lasing region are forward biased, but on the both of the sides of these active region we will be having the reversed biased, right? So now first is the preferential dopant diffusion method. So in the preferential dopant diffusion, I have to preferentially dope the dopants, right? So I have to diffuse some of the preferential dopants like the cadmium or the zinc. I had already talked about the importance of the zinc or cadmium in the previous video itself when I was talking about the optical confinement, right? So we can do the partial diffusion, and with the help of partial diffusion I can have the zinc or cadmium diffusion. So you can see this is our structure. Here this is the active region. In the active region we have the lasing region. In the lasing region we have the above we have p-type region and below we have the n-type region, right? So now here you can see these are the substrates, and now here we have the zinc or cadmium diffusion. So partial diffusion of p-type dopant, that is zinc or cadmium, through the n-type capping layer will be providing the narrow path for the transmission of current, and you can see this is how the current is flowing, right, to the active layer. I hope now you understood this thing. So how the partial dopant diffusion method is working? The partial dopant diffusion, what are the partial dopants? Zinc or cadmium. Now coming to the second method, here we have the photon implantation method. We are implanting photon inside the structure. So we are creating a region of high resistivity by implanting the photon. So if I have photon implantation, it is going to restrict the current to the narrow path. The part at which I have the photon implantation, that part will be having the higher resistivity, and this narrow path will be the current confined path, and only through this path the current is going to flow. So now here you can see we have the n-type region over which we have the active layer, in which this circle represent the lasing region, and over which we have the p-type region. The p-type region we have made the proton implantation, so by which I will be having a narrow region by which the current can travel. So now coming to the inner stripe confinement method. As the name suggests, we have some stripes. So now here we have a channel which is edged. Over the channel we are going to grow a lasing structure. Now here we are going to give a lasing structure above a edged channel, which is going to give me the current confinement. So you can see this structure. Here we have the p-type substrate over which we have the n-type region. This is the edged region, right? So I can say this is the edged part where I have done the current confinement. Below the lasing region I have the edged region, and because here I have the edged region, current is confined at this location only. right? So it is going to restrict the current in the planar materials. Now the last type is the back biased PN junction method, right? So what happens in the back biased PN junction method? It is going to restrict the current on both sides of the channel. Now how it is going to restrict the current? With the help of reversed bias. Now here you can see this is the regrowth of the back biased PN junction. So here you can see we have the non-planar structure. Here we have the planar structure where I can use the inner stripe confinement method, but here we cannot, because here we don't have any planar structure. You can see we have a mesa over which we have the active layer from which the laser output is coming. So this is the laser output. Now here you can see these structures are not very uniform. So what I am going to do in the p-type region, here I am going to form a layer of n-type material. So here in the n-type region I am going to form a region of p-type material. Same goes for here as well. So now here what I have done a regrowth of back biased or reversed biased PN junction. I have made a reversed biased PN junction. So from here the current will not flow because it's a reversed biased junction. So current will flow through this region only because it's a forward biased region, and here it will be getting the least of resistivity and current can flow very easily. Now here I can say heterojunctions which are discontinuous, which are having the discontinuous active layer. This is the active layer which is not continuous from this end to this end. At this time I can use this method. So here current blocked on both sides of the PN junction by the reversed biased method. I hope now you understood this. Now we have the more than one current confinement techniques also which can be used simultaneously. So I can use any two of these or any three of these simultaneously as well to confine more and more current, so that the current density for the threshold current density is going to decrease, and so that the power requirements are going to decrease. Now when I have the double heterojunction structure, we have to control the modes by thickness or by refractive index of the waveguide. So both of them are giving me the trade-off. If I am going to increase the thickness and I am going to increase the refractive index, then I am going to get very disastrous results, right? So we must have the trade-off between the thickness and the refractive index. For example, if I am going to increase the thickness or if I am going to increase the width, so what will happen? The narrowing of the beam width will happen. Beam width is going to become narrow, that we want. I want the laser output to be as narrow as possible, but now in spite of being the narrow beam width, I will be having increase in the current density. So when the threshold current density increase, the power requirements are going to increase. So if I am increasing the width, I have to decrease the refractive index. So we have the limitation in the threshold current density. The modulation speed, I cannot have a very high modulation speed. We have to limit it, and the beam width, or I can say the line width. We have seen if I have increased line width, I have decreased current density. Right? If I have decreased line width, I have increased current density. So there are limitations. Now how I can overcome these limitations? With the help of quantum well lasers. Quantum well lasers are the advanced lasers which are overcoming the limitations of the basic laser devices. Now what is happening here? Here we are reducing the dimensionality of the free motion of the electrons from 3D to 2D. When the dimensionality is reduced, current confinement would be better, right? So that power requirement would be lesser. So now here we are dimensionality of the free electron motion is reduced from 3D to 2D. Now we have the two types of quantum well laser, the single quantum well laser and the multiple quantum well lasers. So both of them are available. Now here the barrier layer is going to separate the active regions in the multiple quantum well laser structure. So in the multiple quantum well structure, we have more than one active layers. And how we are separating these active layers? With the help of barrier layers. So you can see this is the energy band graph for the multiple quantum well structure. Here you can see this is the confinement layer, this is also the confinement layer, right? This is the active layer. So now you can see we have the multiple electron energy gaps. So now the energy gap from the uppermost conduction band level to the lowermost valence band level is represented as del Eij, and it is going to give me the photon emitted. So I hope you understood all of the things that I have discussed in this video. In the next video, we are going to conclude our discussion on the lasers. I hope everything is clear, and if you are having any doubt, you can put the doubt in the comments and I will be trying to resolve your doubt as soon as possible. I hope you like this session. If you like it, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and also please give me your feedback. Thank you so much.